Over the weekend, of course, you had Senator Tim Scott, who was on Face the Nation, and he was blaming Democrats for the George Floyd Justice Act not passing, saying that it didn't pass because they wanted to defund the police. Let's just be real clear. Tim Scott is lying. The bottom line is that, and we had Congresswoman Karen Bass on the show. She shared with us all that they were trying to do, all that they did, all of the different ways that they were providing, giving in to the demands. But what was real interesting here is that over the weekend, again, we saw Tim Scott making all these claims, but he won't fully come out. And what I understand is, why not do it sitting next to Senator Cory Booker? Why not actually, first of all, let's come to a black source. We know that ain't gonna happen. We've been trying to get him on the show for the last 3 or 4 years. He won't do it. But it says a whole lot that that Senator Tim Scott will say that the Democrats are trying to defund the police. No, Senator Tim Scott failed. Because you heard what Congresswoman Karen Bass said. Mitch McConnell was like, a bill that he brings to us, we're going to be able to support. Also, keep in mind, y'all, Senator Tim Scott's trying to run for president. So all of this, okay, let's blame defund the police. How can he say, let's blame defund the police, when, according to Congresswoman Karen Bass, you had Senator Cory Booker who went out and cut a deal, with the police unions. So I'm sort of confused. So here is, matter of fact, I want to pull up the right soundbite here so we can, this is what Tim Scott said on Face the Nation. Listen.
There wasn't a net loss of funding. In fact, there was funding being increased in terms of increased mental health funding specifically, that there were specific programs for recruitment and training funding increases, body-worn camera funding increases, data collection. Yes. So that's not cutting funding. It's might be allocating it in different ways. Actually,
here's what we know. We have about $1 billion in grant money that goes to police. When you start saying in order to receive those dollars, you must do A, B, and C, and if you don't do A, B, and C, you literally lose eligibility for the two major pots of money, the burn grants and the COP grants. When you tell local law enforcement agencies that you are ineligible for money, that's defunding the police. There's no way to spin that. You can spin it by saying—
But this would codify the Trump executive orders.
Let me finish. The Trump executive order, I actually agreed to. What I did not agree to was the cuts that come from non-compliance. When you say, once again, that in order for you to receive the money for the burn grants or the COP grants, you must do the following. And if you don't do the following, you lose money. That's more defunding the police. We saw that tried throughout the country. You wouldn't want to cut funding for underperformance, is what you're saying? Not at all. I would say— You would want to increase to police departments that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing? Let's look at what we're asking for. What the Democrats asked for was a simple thing. They asked for more reporting on serious bodily injury to death. I said that's a great idea. When they wanted to nationalize local policing, I said that's a bad idea. When they say that every single traffic stop in this country must be reported to the federal government, whether it's a traffic ticket or stopping someone on the streets of New York or Charleston, every single time that you have any interaction, for the federal government to be in charge of all that information, I say let's do it, but let's do it voluntarily.
Okay. Y'all, that's bullshit. What Senator Tim Scott has laid out is utter bullshit. Let's do it voluntarily. Would y'all like to know the history of voluntarily waiting on police to submit information? Lauren, wasn't there a particular bill that was passed by Congressman Bobby Scott that dealt with the police voluntarily submitting use of force data? What happened? They didn't do it.
Right, they just didn't do it. They just ignored it.
They did not do it. So explain to people how that voluntary bullshit worked on use of force.
Yeah, Tim Scott Tim Scott is a piece of work. I don't understand why he can't just articulate that he's against the policy and just be done with it, But anyway, to your question, Bobby Scott passed a bill that effectively just mandated that you report deaths in custody, in police custody. Because, of course, and this is what's so stupid about what Tim Scott just said, when you have that type of data from police departments, when they have a death in custody, you have the data, you have the demographic data, you have how that person died. Sometimes it could be legit, sometimes it may not be, but you have data that can be used for a lot of things, right? And Tim Scott knows that. And the idea that they were sitting down with this guy and could not agree on something that simple is ridiculous. I'm not sure why Cory Booker, who, by the way, is not known for his stellar ability to get anything passed when it comes to justice reform. I mean, he's good at getting into documentaries and he's good at talking about it, but when it comes to actually passing a piece of legislation, even when the Democrats have the majority, he's not been all that successful. But I'm not sure why he's not lighting up Tim Scott. I mean, his answer when reporters were asking him about this was, I love him and, ooh, he's all right. No, you need to tell us exactly what was going on.
Well, Lola, let me be real clear. We've been trying to get him on the show. The cell phone number I used to have, now his staff monitors that. We sent an email and text message, have not heard back. But again, I need people.
It's embarrassing.
I need people to understand. I need people watching to understand the bullshit that came out of Senator Tim Scott's mouth. I'm gonna play this again, and I'm gonna stop it. And I'm going to give y'all a prime example of how what he said, his own state of South Carolina actually did. Listen to this.
I would say that there wasn't a net loss of funding. In fact, there was funding being increased in terms of increased mental health funding specifically, that there were specific programs for recruitment and training funding increases, body-worn camera funding increases, data collection.
Yes.
So that's not cutting funding. It's might be allocating it in different ways.
Actually, here's what we know. We have about $1 billion in grant money that goes to police. When you start saying in order to receive those dollars, you must do A, B, and C, and if you don't do A, B, and C, you literally lose eligibility for the two major pots of money, the burn grants and the COP grants. When you tell local law enforcement agencies that you are ineligible for money, that's defunding the police. There's no way to spend that. You can spend it by saying.
All right. So let me walk y'all through why what Senator Tim Scott just said is absolutely complete, utter bullshit. There was a time, y'all, in America where the age to drink was 18. Ronald Reagan was president. There was an effort in America to raise the drinking age to 21. There were states that did not want to do that. There were states that were making a lot of money, like Louisiana, off of selling alcohol to folks 18 above. So you know what the federal government did? The federal government said, no problem. States, in order for you to be eligible for federal highway money, you must raise your drinking age to 21. They said, no problem. If y'all want to keep it at 18, keep it at 18. But if you want federal highway funds, you got to raise it to 21. Louisiana was the last state to agree to raise their minimum drinking age to 21. So explain this to me, Senator Tim Scott. If the federal government did that for highway funds, is that not the same by saying if you don't comply with these things, then you're not eligible for this money? I'm sorry. There are numerous other examples where the United States Congress, the House and the Senate, and the president signed into law. There are numerous other examples where the federal government has said, states, in order for you to be eligible for these federal funds, you must do ABC. So I need Senator Tim Scott to explain to me the difference. This is why I'm calling bullshit on what he said, because he's lying. What he does not want to own up to is Senator Tim Scott wants to kiss the ass of the police. Senator Tim Scott didn't have the, and I don't want to hear all that crap, oh, how you've been racially profiled. But damn it, that's why they asking for the data. They're asking for the data, Tim, because they're tired of law enforcement lying. Why is the data important? And why is the racial designation of the data important? Because then all of a sudden, when they start showing, black people are getting stopped at a 78% higher rate for traffic violations than white people, but black people only comprise a certain percentage of the city. Just hold on. Art Acevedo. Chief Art Acevedo, the former police chief of Houston, Texas, who is now the police chief in Miami. I want to show y'all what he did recently. This is what Chief Acevedo did. He actually came in and stated that he uncovered a pattern of unlawful use of force by officers, and then said the chain of command covered it up. Read. This is what he wrote. Furthermore, since my arrival at MPD in April, I have uncovered a pattern of unlawful use of force by officers, and in some instances, the chain of command has covered up the unlawful use of force by some officers. I have discussed my concern regarding the failure of some MPD supervisors and managers to hold officers accountable for the unlawful use of force. I have begun the process of addressing this issue with the assistance of Deputy Chief Morris, who has extensive experience as the former commander of internal affairs at HPD. And I look forward to obtaining additional help with the position slated for policy and constitutional polling to help reform the department. That might mean constitutional policing. However, during this September 13th commissioner meeting, Commissioners Carollo, Reyes, and Diaz de Portilla manipulated the budget process to hamper my reform by eliminating the funding for the two aforementioned positions, which are critical to any serious reform efforts. So we have examples of some chiefs of police wanting better oversight, of wanting there to actually be real police oversight, but you got local folks who want to stop it because they're in the bed of police. What you're dealing with here is you're dealing with, again, the failure of Senator Tim Scott to actually bring along. Let me say it again. For all of the complaining, from Senator Tim Scott, he has been an abject failure. And so, and let me be real clear, I got Senator Tim Scott's number. Matter of fact, I'm just going to pull it up. And I'm just going to let y'all know. I'm scrolling back. The last time Senator Tim Scott has responded to one of my text messages was on March 13th, 2017. I've texted him on June 25th. Matter of fact, let me see. I don't see again. What I don't appreciate is when people like to sit here and play games. I don't like it when they play games, when they want to say things and they don't want to. Just y'all stay right there. Let me go get my device because I'm about to pull this text message up because I'm not interested in just talking. I want to show y'all what I'm talking about. So I'm looking for my device that allows for me to plug it up right to my iPhone. Cause see, and I know for a fact he ain't changed his phone number because I double checked with some other folk to see if this is still his phone number. Now, just like when you had Alan West, who refused to do stuff. So March 13th, 2000, come on, go to my phone. March 13th, 2017, I sent Senator Tim Scott messages here with regards to Congressman Steve King. He responded, okay, laid it out. Then I laid it out, what we gonna do. So here's June 25th, 2017. Are you available to do Tom Joyner Morning Show to discuss the GOP's Senate healthcare bill? No response. December 19th, 2018, we should do a sit down on opportunity zones. No response. January 15th, 2019, are you available to do the Tom Joyner Morning Show in the morning? No response. Then he had a gathering of black senators on February 6, 2019. No response. March 17th, 2019. Available to do Tom Joyner Morning Show. No response. Then Wednesday, I sent him another deal. Can you come on to discuss this here? Let me send him again. I am live right now. You know what? I'm going to actually do one better. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. Senator Tim Scott, I'm live on my show right now. We're talking about the failure of the Senate to pass the George Floyd Justice Act. Hit me up, call me back, call me or text me so you could come on the show to explain to our audience, African-American audience, why this failed. I saw you on Face the Nation. I saw all the responses, but I got a whole bunch of other questions. So for instance, I got a whole lot of other questions that I need you to answer because frankly, what I'm hearing is not, I'm not feeling that. So hit me back. This is my number. You text me back, have your people. And if you want to sit down for the full hour, we can do it. In studio, not in studio. You want to sit down for the full 2 hours, we can do that as well. But let's have a real conversation about why this George Floyd Justice Act failed when you and Senator Lindsey Graham promised that y'all were going to actually get this thing done to the George Floyd family. Send. See,
It'll never happen.
See, I told y'all I don't play these games. What Senator Tim Scott walked through, now I want y'all to listen. I want y'all to listen to this one. Listen, watch this. Hold up, let me plug it back. Let me plug it back up because I want to play this other sound bite. And see, this is why, I know you're fine. You can go talk to Margaret Brennan all you want to on Face the Nation, but she ain't going to ask the questions I'm going to ask you. Listen to this.
Senator Cory Booker, who was your partner in this.
Yes.
I mean, this started under the Trump administration. It continued under the Biden administration.
Exactly.
When Republicans in control went nowhere, Democrats in control, it's going nowhere.
But both times, the folks that left the table were the Democrats. Let's just be clear that we have stayed at the table. We said simply this: I am not going to participate in reducing funding for the police after we saw major city after major city to fund the police. many provisions in this bill that he wanted me to agree to limited or reduced funding for the police. That's a lose-lose proposition. When you reduce funding for police, you actually lose lives in the communities. Our approach was a win-win approach. We want the best wearing the badge, and we want the vulnerable protected. So when you tie funding losses in this legislation, you should expect an allergic reaction from me.
Okay, so again, why that's nonsensical is because you already heard Brendan break it down where the money was going to be shifted. That's not defunding the police. You cannot say, if I give you X amount of dollars and a portion is going to go here and here, you're still getting it. You're literally still getting the money. But what Senator Tim Scott is really saying is, no, we don't want the money to go to mental health. Even though police have said that they are bothered having to do these mental health calls because they're not equipped for it. But see, we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, some of the unions are for it.
Yeah. And so
some of the unions were for what they were talking about, and Scott stopped it. You know, the other thing that comes to mind, of course, is Walter Scott, who was shot in the back, 5 or 6 times a few years ago, and Lindsey Graham and Senator Tim Scott got all emotional about it, and we've got to do something about police brutality, and then nothing happened. I actually think the real question here, too, is why are they talking to Tim Scott? You're in control of Congress and the White House. Why are you talking to people and negotiating?
Easy, because hold on. While we were on the air, to your point, Senate Republicans blocked the increase in the debt limit, and the same thing because they're like, it's on y'all.
You pass what you can pass with the majority, and what you can't pass, you can't pass.
No, but here's my whole point.
What you need 60 votes for, you need 60 votes for.
Hold up. Do you need 60 votes? Wait a minute. Do you need 60 votes for the George Floyd Justice Act, or is the real problem you got Manchin and Sinema, who they refuse to put real pressure on to submit to breaking the filibuster?
Absolutely, and that is the ultimate problem. But there are typically other vehicles of legislation, of course, that pass that you can insert language into. And there's no reason why George Floyd can't be one of those packages you insert into something that's maybe a 50-vote margin vote. That you have to make a deal another way. But why Cory Booker and these people think that they're going to get anywhere with Mitch McConnell and Tim Scott on justice reform, that is fantasy world. It's absolute fantasy world.
Hey, Juliana, is what I said to Congresswoman Karen Bass. I had absolutely no faith, zero, nada.
That's right.
None, that Senator Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham were going to be able to bring over 8 other Republicans. I had none.
And you're absolutely right to have none. I mean, many of us believe that faith works, but it don't work this time. What we've got going on here is basically Republicans, they don't care about public policy. They don't care about people. They care about winning. And that's all they care about. And so when you see someone like a Mitt Romney who knows better, I mean, I could call out the name of 10 Republican senators who know better, but they're not going to do better because they don't have to. They're not going to do better because this is a story of how essentially Republicans and them Trumpies have essentially taken over the Republican Party and made decency a marginal value. There, 20 years ago, you look, 30, 40, the Rockefellers, there's so many people who we didn't agree with them on money, but they were decent. Now there is no decency in the Republican Party, and that's why your faith was misplaced.
Congo?
I noticed that you said he hadn't texted you since, I think, March of 2017. That coincides with 2 months after Trump came into office. So he was clearly being strategic from the jump in terms of his allegiance. I mean, he's not an honest broker. Just like Lauren was saying, the Republicans are not honest brokers. Like all of us said, we knew it was doomed from the start. And let's be clear, money is not given to anybody without any types of stipulations. I mean, Dean Malveaux knows this. You get college scholarship there, you get a bad grade, you lose the money. So he's sitting there talking to Brennan, and Brennan is saying twice, you are fine with underperforming departments still getting money? And he says yes. And then on top of that, in the next clip, he says he wants the best officers. They want these guys to continue to operate with impunity. And when he talks about this defunding the police, the Republicans did everything they can to block everything that Biden has done that would actually give more money to the police and give more money to the communities that they serve, so that they wouldn't have to be called and come out and have to, like you said, be the social worker, be the mental health worker, and they block that. So just because in this society we are not able to think critically, we got these trigger words, and whenever we hear something like defund the police or woke or critical race theory or whatever, we immediately go into our silos. He's using that, and he's going to use that all the way into a presidential campaign. I'm glad you are exposing this, and we, again, we got to get rid of this filibuster, and we got to make this happen. You just talked about what the Republicans did. They are masters at minority rule. And they are doing the Democrats right now. It's ridiculous.
Look, this is a tweet right here. Listen to this. This guy, Will Selden. 3 times in this interview, Senator Tim Scott defines conditional grants to police departments, offering to give them money if they comply with rules such as banning chokeholds, as defunding the police. The phrase defunding the police has lost all meaning.
Yeah, well, see, that's why he won't come on your show, Roland, because you are going to ask him detailed questions about what that burn grant money goes to, which, by the way, is usually things like body-worn cameras, police equipment. So as the interviewer on CBS said, even though she didn't conduct a particularly good interview, she made the point, he's not talking about a net loss of money. He's talking, of course, about the stipulations required under the burn grant program, which has been around forever. This is not new. So he threw that defund police out there just as a hot button thing when that's not what happened. Because as you already brought up, he's lying. He can't withstand that type of questioning from a Roland Martin. Like, that's not, you're not going to get away with that in an interview with Roland Martin. You're not. You're not going to be able to bullshit your way through that conversation. So what it requires is for somebody to walk up to him physically, which I'm going to try to do tomorrow on Capitol Hill, and ask him. I mean, you can't. I'm sure that reporters have probably already tried to do this, but it's an in-person conversation. There's no doubt about it, and he knows exactly what he's doing. It's a PR game.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I think that when you look at it, he wouldn't give Roland the interview because Roland would roast his chestnuts on open fire. But even more than that, he is unwilling to be accountable. So he's Mr. Bojangles. I mean, he plays the game. He's black. He's down. He's been profiled. You know, and at the same time, what he's doing is he is essentially blocking progress.
Which why not just say you disagree with the policy? So what's new about that?
Because he wants to be reelected in South Carolina, which is about a third black. And if they ever saw his true colors, black folks would be running from him. He wants to be, as Roland said earlier, he would love to run for president of the United States. And in order to do that, he has some Bojangles around the white people who he will depend on. We need to know who supports him. In other words, who gives him?
First of all, we already know who supports him. We already know who gives him money. Okay, it's established. It's the same as the other Republicans. But here's the deal. What I cannot tolerate is the bullshit fucking lying. I can't tolerate that. Look, okay, this is not hard, y'all. And this is very simple. Go to my computer. This is all you typed in. What type of grant does the federal government prefer? This is what I typed in. How does the federal government stipulate conditional grants? Listen to what I just told y'all. All I typed in was, how does the federal government stipulate conditional grants? Which is what Senator Tim Scott was whining about in that clip on Face the Nation. Okay, look, the Congressional Research Service, informing the legislative debate since 1914. This is dated May 22nd, 2019. Federal grants to state and local governments, a historical perspective on contemporary issues. Go to page 3. Okay, page 3. A continuum of federal grant administrative conditions. Of these 6 grant types, project categorical grants typically impose the most restraint on recipients. Federal administrators have a high degree of control over who receives project categorical grants. Recipients must apply to the appropriate federal agency for funding and compete against other potential recipients who also meet the program's specified eligibility criteria. Recipients have relatively little discretion concerning aided activities. Funds must be used for narrowly specified purposes, and there is a relatively high degree of federal administrative conditions attached to the grant, typically involving the imposition of, listen to me, y'all, typically involving the imposition of federal standards for planning, project selection, fiscal management, administrative organization, and performance. So what I am walking y'all through, is that right now, Senator Tim Scott has more than likely, and when I say more than likely, probably a 100%. It's likely 100% that Senator Tim Scott has actually voted for these very type of grants that he is now complaining about.
That's right. Trump was president in 2019. He didn't say anything then.
And you heard her say in one of the clips, what they were talking about was in the Trump executive order.
Right.
And he cut her off.
He cut her off.
He cut off.
Yeah.
And I supported that. See, this is the part of the problem that I have with shows like Face the Nation, because they talk to him about a whole bunch of stuff. No, that's when you say, no, we throwing the rest of that out. We gonna stay on this topic. In fact, this is when you say, you know what? Bump that other guest. I need to keep this going for 10 more minutes. But see, that's not what they want to do. They don't want to sit here and actually do that, because then, he won't come back.
Right.
He's not going to come back.
Right. And who cares, by the way?
Predatory capitalism. It's the way that these shows operate. They operate to basically maximize their profits and minimize the voices of the people. I think that Sister Girl was doing a great job up to a point, but then she drops it. She just blocking drops it.
And see, just so everybody knows, again, after he went on Face the Nation, here is Tim Scott talking to Trey Gowdy, former congressman from South Carolina, who now works at Fox News. Listen.
His buddy.
Yeah, these guys are, let me see if I can reset this here.
They're good friends.
Oh, yeah. Okay, just so y'all know, again, how the cute little game is played. Here we go.
Joining us, Senator, the Democrats left the negotiating table twice. Why?
Yeah. Trey, it looks like they have just, they're managing so many crises. I think they're looking for a way to give Biden a win. Think about Afghanistan crisis, the border crisis, crisis in the Middle East, a crisis of spending, crisis in taxing. So they're putting politics over people and focusing on a partisan victory. They're actually going to look for the perfect and make it the enemy of the good. I simply cannot understand my friends on the other side who must have forgotten what it feels like to live in marginalized communities, wanting police to be there to protect you, thinking about those single moms who come home late at night. They want protection. And 81% of African Americans, Trey, said they want the same level or more police. And you listen to the other side, their elites, they must not care.
Okay. See, this is the game they play. This is the game they play. 81% of African Americans want to feel safe. Yeah. I don't know anybody who prefers to be unsafe.
Right.
But what Senator Tim Scott did not mention on Fox News is the damn near $1 billion local governments have paid out in police abuse cases. What you hear Senator Tim Scott did not mention was the 2 cases we showed y'all of canine dogs attacking 2 black men. What he didn't mention is Laquan McDonald's case in Chicago, where the cops lied about the shooting and Van Dyke was convicted. He didn't mention the cop in Florida who's in prison for shooting a brother who was in the choir. The cop was driving an unmarked van and walked up on the brother and damn near immediately started shooting. See, he ain't mentioned none of those cases. See, what Senator Tim Scott will never say to Fox News and own up to is black people want to feel safe in their communities. What they don't want are being beaten by cops, being lied on by cops. That's what they don't want. But I guess he overlooks those marginalized voices.
No, that's right, of course. I mean, this is the game. His game is all about making sure that nobody is in a position to ask him questions for more than, 2 or 3 minutes, because it can't withstand, this routine cannot withstand 3 or 4 minutes of specific questions. And he knows that. This is the PR game. And that's why I don't know why the big charade. If it was any other senator, if it was Jim Inhofe or some conservative Republican, they would have said, look, I'm not for this. I don't want to change anything about policing. I'm not in favor of the George Floyd Act, so I don't want to talk about it. So why did we just go through this big charade? Why did Tim Scott why did he want to appear as if he was interested? For what?
But Laura,
I mean, that
he
would
wants
be
relevant. He wants black people to think well of him. So it was a great optic for him to say he was going to do this and to sit with Karen Bass and to sit with the others. It was a great optic. But he never in his entire lifetime, planned to move any closer to Bass and the others around the George Floyd Transparency in Policing Act. What he did.
Side of this too. The flip side is, Congresswoman Bass and Senator Booker should have called a press conference and lit his ass up right after this happened, that we found out that the talks had broken off. Because this whole kumbaya, this whole routine that they're doing of not specifically bringing up the dysfunction and the fact that the Republican Party is not interested in serious policy, in serious federal policy, that needs to be pointed out as much as possible.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's Senator Cory Booker, on Meet the Press, and I saw him earlier. There was an interview where he was on Black News Channel. Senator Cory Booker, I need you and I already sent him a DM saying I need you to have your staff return some phone calls, because I've been trying to call you because you changed your cell phone number, and maybe I should call the girlfriend, Rosario Dawson, to get a message to him, like, yo, can you call a brother? No, because like bottom line is here, like, we were out there. We were dealing with it. So this is what he told Chuck Todd, and I appreciate them going to all these mainstream folks, but come talk to black people where people actually watch the show. Listen to this.
Want to let you go without asking about your take on why police reform didn't come to fruition. Here's what Tim Scott said. He said Democrats said no because they could not let go of their push to defund our law enforcement. Is that correct?
No. Again, why are we descending into partisan name calling or partisan corners? These are 2 guys that sat down, that worked very hard over 9 months, got the FOP to endorse a compromise bill.
Stop right there. See, all right. Scott's wearing your ass out, controlling the narrative. See, let me go. See, let me walk the audience through, because Lauren mentioned it. I need y'all to understand what's really going on here. Senator Tim Scott, whole deal is, how can we control the narrative?
Right.
Boom, he throws it out. Defund. We defund it out. Senator Cory Booker, why do we have to sit here and use names? Bruh! Recognize what they're doing. Let me go back.
I never imagined we would get FOP leadership to come on board. The International Association of Chiefs of Police, who said, yes, our profession's in trouble. Right. The families were with what we were proposing. It didn't work.
Why do you think Senator Scott's using this language, though? Because you've been very diplomatic. He's not being as diplomatic. Why?
I love him. I send him grace all the time. He is a friend of mine. The reality is I've gotten big things done in this town, in this space, with Lindsey Graham and Chuck Grassley and Donald Trump. We got big things done to cut.
Do you think McConnell didn't want him to cut this deal? Do you think there were others above him that was basically like, do the best you can, but?
I promised the families we're going to get something done. I'm still at work. I'm not throwing accusations at either side. I do think this town has got to learn, all of us, that to try to play the singularly blame game. Right. I accept responsibility. We didn't get it done. I haven't stopped working. We need to lift the frequency of this town, especially on issues like this that all of America knows. Biggest demonstrations in this country's history for change. They want change from the federal level.
It's quite notable, though, that you're not going politics here. Senator Scott is. Just saying.
Again, I've learned a lot over the last 8 years, and that's not the way to get things done in the long run. And the families deserve. We're going to still see videotapes of unarmed African Americans being killed. We've had tragedies in this country we've all witnessed. We've got to start getting things done. And the wonderful thing about it is police leaders understand it as well. We've got to get back to the table eventually and get big things done.
Wow.
Let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. You ain't my friend if on the other side of the room you telling everybody he ain't shit. But then when you come with me, hey buddy, no. Senator Tim Scott dragged Senator Cory Booker's ass. And this site, if y'all want a case study on how Democrats keep getting their asses handed to them, I just showed you.
Exactly.
This is why.
You're absolutely right.
What would tell you that he's wrong is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell doesn't come to the table and talk about anything when he's in the majority. He does his thing. And until the Democratic Party understands that and realizes that you have to roll these people, they're not negotiating with you. They're playing PR games on Fox News. And they never figure, I don't know what it is about the Democratic Party. They never figure this out. And they learn this lesson of getting their ass kicked over and over and over again. The only one that really seems to understand what the heck is going on really is Pelosi. I mean, she just does her thing. She didn't care about what they're thinking and what they're saying.
See, Congo, look, here's the deal. I don't know, Macongo. I'm hopeful that ABC News will call me back to do This Week after I destroyed Chris Christie.
It's a good show.
It was the first time I was on in 20 months. It may be another 20 months. But here's my whole deal. I'm not going to sit here. There's a reason Fox News don't call me.
Yep.
There's a reason Bill Maher called me one time, October 2014, and he ain't going to pick that phone up again. Because, see, and I remember when I was at CNN, I remember one of the executives called my agent and he was like, well, when we have these debates, but he takes them so, it's just a debate. I'm like, no. I'm here to put your ass in a rhetorical body bag. I'm here to bury your ass. I am not here to be cute, we can play patty cake. No, no, Ro ain't here for patty cake. Because the issue here, this is about the lives of people.
Right, life and death.
And you gotta understand the other side, they ain't playing by no rules. They ain't playing nice. Scott just said you walk away from the table twice. And your response is, well, I don't know why they're using those phrases. I don't like calling names. He's my friend. I'm going to extend him grace. I ain't extending Let me tell you something. I'm just going before I go to, I'm just going, let me go biblical here, Senator Cory Booker. When you say, I'm going to extend him grace, the great German theologian, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, coined a phrase called cheap grace. And cheap, and just so everybody need to understand, the German theologian, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, studied at Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem. Bonhoeffer traveled to the United States and saw faith in action, saw social justice and the church combined. Bonhoeffer took what he discovered and studied at Abyssinian Baptist Church and took it back to Germany, began to apply liberation theology in Germany, which is why he was part of the resistance against Hitler, even reached the point of participating in a plot to assassinate Hitler and determined that killing an evil man like Hitler was justified in the eyes of God because of the evil that he personified, but I digress. He came up with the notion of cheap grace because cheap grace, as Bonhoeffer defined it, Omakongo, was when somebody commits sin and they go, God forgive me, I'm gonna be a hoe again tomorrow, but forgive me tonight. And then when they hoe tomorrow night, then they come, God forgive me. He said, no. He said, we want to keep extending cheap grace. He said, people want, he called that cheap, Senator Cory Booker, that's cheap grace. Because the man has rejected your grace. Said you walked away from the table. Said you want to defund the police. He don't care. He ain't calling you friend. He is treating you like a foe. And when somebody shows you that they are a foe, you do not hug and kiss and be nice. No, you got to treat them like KG did when he played against somebody. He said, we ain't friends, because when the game starts, we on opposite sides, and I'm trying to win, and I'm going to do whatever necessary to take you out. That's how Republicans play the game in this city.
Period, bottom line. Period, bottom line. And not only did Senator Tim Scott say everything that you just mentioned, then he went further to call them all elitists, to talk about they forgot what it's like to live amongst the people. And Senator Booker is always talking about, I still live in the city. I still live amongst the people, so on and so he took that as well. And these guys, one of the things that we didn't mention is why Senator Scott is doing this and why McConnell and all of them doing that. They're running the clock as well. They are working to get as close to the midterms as possible, so they're going to delay all of this. And as Lauren said, the Democrats keep falling for this. For some reason, I don't know why this time I thought it was going to be different. Maybe, coming off of Trump and everything that he did, that they were going to be like, we're not falling for the BS anymore. But they're going for it again. You're sitting here talking about, that's my friend, I love him, and so on. So what? I love getting home safe at night. I love, when a cop runs up to me, I love knowing that they're trained and they're not going to try to just shoot me up just because my lights are off or something like that. This is like you said, this is life or death for us. And that's why when you go into these studios, you don't play with them. And that's why these senators and Congress folks can't be playing with these guys right now, because they don't care about our lives. And Senator Booker, respect what you're doing. Representative Bass, loving all of the work that you're doing. But you're right, these senators, we gotta play hardball, man, because it is literally for us a matter of life or death. Forget all of this friendship stuff.
Hold on. Before I go to Julian, again, I'm just gonna give y'all a quick. Literally, we gonna close out in 3 minutes. But I just want. This is a 38-second clip. But y'all know I don't never like showing anything from CNN. But I'm gonna show y'all how not to respond to Republican attacks. Watch this.
The bill that you were pushing was defunding the police.
Again, it's unfortunate. You remember on this saga, we got the head of the FOP.
Stop right there. Okay, let me go back. Here's the question.
the bill that you were pushing was defunding the police.
Boom. Come back. This is your response. Jake, that's a lie. And it's an offensive lie.
Right.
As Senator Tim Scott knows it.
Period.
He knows that's not the case. And I wish he would stop telling that lie in order to score points with his Republican counterparts. Listen.
Roland.
No, hold on. Listen.
Again, it's unfortunate. You remember on this saga, we got the head of the FOP, the director of FOP, IACP. These are some of the biggest unions and law enforcement agencies to go with us on a lot of common sense reforms. And those folks don't want to defund the police. This is a bill that would have had millions of dollars for police to.
Okay, hold on.
So,
Fewer dollars, though?
Millions of dollars more. Additional dollars because we want to help officers with mental health issues.
Stop. Okay. All right. So this is how you say it. Jake, I met with the Fraternal Order Police. They agreed to this. I met with the International Police Association. They agreed to this. The very people, Jake, who are wearing the badge, who are patrolling the streets, they agreed to this, and this. Senator Tim Scott, who does not wear the badge, refused to actually do this. You also don't go on television with that mansy-pansy, weak-ass millions of dollars. No! Give the number. Say 75 million, 125 million, 200 million. That's what you do. Learn to fight when you are in a war.
Right.
Instead, it'll be millions of dollars. Jay goes, hire a lawyer. No, it'll be millions. No, give me number. Julianne, go ahead.
You know, I mean, you're absolutely right. These Negroes run around acting like they're scared. They have the power in the Congress, in the Senate with 50 votes. They have the presidency. They have the White House. Why do these people not just do their damn work? Just do your work. I'm so disappointed in Cory Booker that I cannot even articulate it. But he'd been Mr. Bojangles much of his life. He was anointed by the Clintons and others as this, Harvard, Yale, wherever he went, black man who's so articulate that he was still of the people. Well, no, he's not of the people. And Tim Scott is right about him from that perspective. Because if he was of the people, he would not be mouthing this bullcrap. He just wouldn't be doing it. And so what we need to do about those like Scott and those like Booker is vote them out, both of them. Lauren is up there cracking up. She's cracking me up by watching her crack. And because this shit is funny, excuse my language, but this shit is funny. It's funny when you have all the power, but you refuse to exercise it. And what it does is to the detriment of our people. And the challenge then, though, is that these people come running back around us every 2 years, 4 years for elections, talking about vote for me because I'll set you free. No, you really won't. No, you really didn't.
Folks, look, all I'm trying to say is this here. This is too serious to continue to play these games. The Republican Party, listen, I need everybody listen to me, and all y'all people who sending me dumbass tweets like some woman talking about you ain't right for supporting Biden. Fool, it was Trump or Biden.
Come on.
That's who the hell it was. Y'all can sit here and run around y'all want to. Here's what I know, and y'all need to listen to me clearly on. The Republican Party wants to take over the House and the Senate, and they want to win back the White House in 2024. They will not support any civil rights investigation in the Department of Justice. They will not support any police consent decrees in the Department of Justice. One of the first acts of Jeff Sessions under Donald Trump was to remove the money that they were used to investigate white domestic terrorism and moved it over to target Muslims, when the greatest threat, according to the FBI director, was white domestic terrorism. And y'all can sit here, and let me tell you, and I ain't never said anybody, Biden damn sure ain't perfect. But if you tell me I got a choice between busting his ass and dealing with crazy ass Trump and his white nationalists, ain't even a discussion as far as I'm concerned. But what we are not gonna do is sit here and play games with these folks who wanna play nice. So I wanna know where all the white streets after George Floyd was killed. Who y'all calling on Capitol Hill? Are y'all flooding the offices of Senator Tim Scott? Everybody who was protesting in LA, and Portland, and Milwaukee, and Charlotte, and New York City, and Houston, and St. Louis, every major city. Where y'all at? All y'all corporations. All y'all corporations. All y'all corporations. All y'all corporations who posted your black squares. Where y'all at?
Come on.
Where y'all at? I want to know why y'all silent.
Yep.
I'm talking to y'all right here. Come on. Where y'all at? Where are you? Why are y'all not jumping all over Booker and Scott and saying, get back to the table and negotiate? Because for many of you, it was performative. For many of you, it was following the leader. Oh, everybody's talking about it. Yo, send out a George Floyd tweet. Post a black box. Say Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter after the black man was killed, and it matters after the bill was killed. What y'all gonna do? Folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way. Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on that.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?